Gully, welcome to Below the Belt podcast. First of all, how are you? How's things? Are you in training camp at the moment? Are you ticking over? You got any exclusive news for us?
Yeah, I'm just locked in, focused in camp right now. Hopefully get some fight news coming in next week. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So yeah, I'm just focused right now, just staying locked in, staying in the gym. You know what I mean? I'm
ticking
all
over.
ticking over. You know how
Yeah,
it is. Well, to be fair, my camp is throughout the year, so like I just stay in the gym constantly. I don't really take really any time off
okay,
unless I'm having rest days or anything. But even on Christmas Day, I was grinding. So like,
fair
it's
play.
one of them things where I just stay focused, stay locked in, and stay ready for whatever comes my way.
Okay, no, sounds good. But yeah, looking forward to the fight news. And you're saying that's next week. We should
Yeah,
we
we
should
should
hear
find
more.
out. We should find out next week. Hopefully, that I'd say latest next
Mm.
10 days, but definitely should be next week. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Well, yeah, thanks again for coming on the podcast. Obviously, myself and everybody knows you as Gully Powar, the professional boxer,
Yeah. Yeah.
7-0, flying the flag for the Sikh community.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I want to get to know you on a bit more of a personal level,
Yeah.
get
Yeah. Yeah.
inside your mind, which I find fascinating from the perspective that you seem very tunnel vision. I think there's a goal that you're going after in the pro game, and I don't think anything's going to stop you when it comes to reaching that goal. So yeah, I want to find out a little bit more about you on a personal level
Yeah.
and the mindset level. So let's go back to the very beginning. So growing up, what were you like? So I know you're 21 years of age now, which is still pretty young um, from a boxing perspective. But yeah, growing up, what were you like? What were you like at school? What was your friendship group like? And how did you first get into boxing? When did you first step into a gym?
So when I was younger, I was just like a very hyper kid. I was always active. Just one of them kids that just want to do so many things at once. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I was always
mm,
experiencing new things. But at school, I wasn't really naughty. And like obviously, with primary school, I wasn't really naughty enough. It's just very active. Just always wanted to do different things. I couldn't
mm.
really sit still. So like obviously, when I got to like year 5, year 6, my dad put me towards boxing. But I
Oh,
was
that
doing
early.
yeah. So I was in year 6 when I started boxing,
Mm,
like probably midway.
yeah.
But year 5, I was doing like little bits of kickboxing, playing football,
Mm,
and I was good at only sport. Like I was good at table tennis, little things
yeah.
like that as well. So like, yeah, I went into boxing. My dad put me in there because he was a big fan of boxing as well. He never did it, but like he was a big fan in
Mm.
general. He used to watch like Lennox Lewis and all them great
Ah,
fighters
okay.
from back in the
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah.
And obviously, my family, my mum, my sister, everyone supported me at the time. Obviously, I was still young. But obviously, I say this in like every interview. As a kid, I didn't
Mm,
really want to do boxing at first because I thought it was
mm,
just too violent. I was thinking, what's this all about? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, why am I doing this? But the
So
first time,
was it your dad that pushed you
yeah,
into it
yeah,
then?
yeah,
Yeah,
he just kept me going.
yeah.
Just I don't know. He just his ambition took over and became my ambition.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's one
Yeah.
of them things in it. So yeah, he pushed me towards boxing the first week. I sparred like I've never sparred in my life. You know what I mean? I was doing little bits in kickboxing, but it wasn't like the same thing.
Mm,
It was like that was like 30 seconds. This was like
mm,
proper 2 minute rounds. You know what I mean?
mm,
Sparring. I went in the sparring session with the kid that's probably been doing it for about 6 months, and I got caught with a body shot, and it stopped me completely. And like
mm,
I remember I was complaining. I was like, I don't want to do this again.
mm,
So then obviously my dad says you have to go back in it. So
mm.
next week I went back, but then I improved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like now that I knew what the training was like, and the first week I got to know the coaches, I started to enjoy it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like there was a certain moment where I thought I don't feel like going back, but at the same time, it's probably the best thing that I'd ever
Mm,
decided to do, which is go back to boxing and train and like stay focused on it
mm,
because I had actually had my first skills bout in the first 6 months. You
mhm,
know what I mean? And obviously, I'm from like a certain area where there's a lot of crime and stuff like that as
mm,
well. So I think my dad also put me in boxing to keep me focused on,
mhm,
something and keep my mind off
mhm.
like the negative things and going
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
wrong path. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just one of them things that I just went into boxing. I had my first skills bout and I just stayed locked in ever since. And I've just loved boxing ever since, man. Like it's even at times, even
Mm,
when I was like kind of like fading away from it, it was still a part of me. So like it
mm.
kind of grew on me probably the last 3 years.
And what amateur club was that you used to box with?
I've been at the same boxing club, Wolverhampton Amateur Boxing Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. It was a different coach at the time, but
And is that the same now you're professional as well? Is it the same
the
coach?
same. Nah, so we had different coaches. I actually joined Richie about 7 years ago.
Okay.
So for about 4 years, I was with somebody else, and then
Mhm.
Richie took over, and I just leveled up ever since then, man. Like my career, I've been in the championships ever since. I've succeeded. didn't get the national title. I got robbed really badly, but
Mm.
I ain't gonna. Obviously, that's
I think that
a
happens a lot in the
common
amateurs, doesn't
common
it? Yeah.
phrase that everyone
Mm.
likes. Exactly, like it's a
Mm.
common phrase that everyone likes to say. I got robbed, but if you guys watched it, you'll see what I mean. And he
Yeah,
stopped him
yeah.
in the third round with a body shot and stuff.
Mm.
So, but it is what it is.
Did you have many amateurs?
I had 41.
41. So
Yeah,
you had,
yeah. So imagine this is the funniest thing. My book, yeah, like you have a book like
yeah, they
amateur
were
book.
with all your fights
Two of
on
the
it.
two
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
pages got ripped out, so they said I only had 28 or 29,
Oh,
or I think
really?
something like that. But like really, it didn't even have my skills bats or anything on there. So
Oh,
I
really
actually
not?
had up to 41 because if you count my trophies,
Okay,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah,
had
yeah.
like that many. But yeah, they just labeled it as that many for some reason.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
doesn't really matter either way. I got evidence that I've had that many fights. You know what I mean? But
So at what point was it that you decided to turn pro? Because you're 21 now and you've already had 7 pro contests.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how old were you when you turned pro? Because that's quite a young age, I'd say, to
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
professional.
So I was 19 when we actually like announced who's turning pro, but I
Mm.
didn't actually have my fight. So I turned pro.
This wasn't during lockdown either, was it?
Nah, nah, nah,
It
nah.
was.
So this is in 2021. I was still fighting the championship. So
Mm.
in 2021, I got to semi-finals of the senior elites, and then 2022, early 2022, I got to quarterfinals. But in July, I'd say about 2 weeks before my birthday, which is on the
Mm.
29th, I turned pro. So we announced that we're going
Mhm.
pro.
Yeah.
Obviously I spoke to my BCB and stuff like that, and we moved forward with my career. But as soon as that was done, I had my first fight. So we was actually set to fight September.
Mhm.
So obviously I turned 20. I had my first fight when I was 20 in it. So which was in October the 30th. And like it's just been great since then, man. Like I've been flipping fighting every 2-3 months. I want to
Mm.
be active, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like I
yeah.
want to stay fighting all
Which
the
isn't
time.
very common nowadays in boxing,
Yeah,
is it? For
nah.
fighters to be fighting more than say 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know, man.
Is it just difficulty in getting matchups or?
Well, to be fair, if I could tell you how much politics goes on behind the scenes about
Mm.
weight,
I
and
can imagine,
fighters don't
yeah.
want to fight because they want more
Mm.
money and stuff like that. It is
Mm.
what it is. Like, in all fairness, I think I don't really go out there and put into the world like, oh yeah, this fighter don't want to fight me or this journeyman. It's nothing like that. Like
Mm.
I understand the sport of boxing. It's a hurt game
There's
for
a
a
lot of
reason.
moving parts,
Yeah,
right, that
yeah,
need to
yeah.
all come together to make a fight happen.
That's it. And like
Mm.
obviously I'm just like I said, I'm one of them people. I'm dangerous because I stay focused all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And because I'm so focused, because I stay in camp all the time, because I train in, even on my days off, I still feel like training. I study the sport of boxing. That makes a dangerous character. And I am
Mm.
that person, you know what I
Doing
mean?
all the right things, right? Because
Exactly.
I think if there's one thing that I've noticed just watching quite a few pro boxers locally and just in general as well, that is that in between camps, it's very easy to take your foot off the gas, not just physically, but mentally and switch off. But
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes that's when the biggest opportunities come, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's important to stay ready to a certain extent, which sounds like you're doing all year round at the
Nah,
minute.
I stay ready, man, because like it's not even the fact that I could just get an opportunity. I feel like it's in my character to be that person. It's
Mm,
something in me that tells me like you gotta stay focused at all times because
mm,
great things don't just come without you just
mm.
slacking. If I just start like going out and going clubbing and start messing around and going towards all these other
Mm.
distractions, and I'm not like saying they're bad for it or like people can't
Mm.
enjoy themselves, but for me, it's the way I think is completely different. My
Yeah,
mindset.
that's a very mature mindset to have at 21 years of
Yeah,
age.
yeah.
Where has that mindset come from? Is that influence from your dad, from your mom,
I,
or
f-
where do you think it's come from? Or is it something just within you, you think?
I think it comes from things that from a young age. I think I've always had this spark of fire in me, but I think I've experienced a lot of negative things from a young
Mm.
age that as I got older it built up this like a lot of
Resilience.
fire in me to
Yeah.
like keep staying focused and the desire to keep pushing on, because I think if you want to be great like Cole Bryant, Mayweather, all the great champions in the sport of boxing,
Mm.
Mayweather stayed in the gym every single day. He used to
Mm.
run back from places. He
Mm.
stayed focused. He stayed on his routine. He stayed on weight all year round, and that's why he's an undefeated
Mm.
champion. Same with Manny Pacquiao. Like if you look at their life stories, where they come from, and it inspires me to move
Mm.
forward. And
Yeah.
like there's a fighter called Salvador Sanchez. Obviously, a lot of people know and a lot of people don't know. But
I've heard them, yeah.
yeah, if he was 20 years old and he was winning world titles at the age of 21.
Mm.
So my point is, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Salvador Sanchez was out there beating Danny Lopez, like experienced pros at the time, and beating Wilfredo Gomez at the age of 23, how come I can't do that? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it inspires me. It pushes me forward. I feel like moving forward in my career and staying focused all the time. And when everyone else is the way I see it is when everyone else is like kind of like enjoying themselves, like I'm in the gym working harder because I
Mm.
think there's a bigger reward at the end of how hard I work. So if I focus in my 20s right now, if I stay locked in my 20s from 20 to 30, 30 even 35, if it takes me, you know what I mean? Then there's a big, then I can have like 50 years of freedom, basically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
And that's how
100%.
I stay believing in God as well, and that's a big thing to me as well, you know what I mean?
And I think when you look at some of these great fighters who have come from nothing
Yeah,
to have everything, and some typical names to think of, you think of the Tyson Furies, and you think of kind of the Conor McGregors.
yeah,
I get the similar kind of vibe from you in the aspect of you're very obsessed, you're very tunnel visioned towards a particular goal. You know what you want, and like I said, you've got a very mature mindset. But I think obsession is probably
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
key word. You seem
definitely.
absolutely obsessed with
Yeah,
boxing. Like you said, I see you on social media, probably God knows what time in the morning, studying some of the old greats back from the 60s,
yeah, yeah,
70s,
yeah,
which is pretty unheard of for somebody your age. And I think when you put that together with kind of you're in the gym every day, whether you've got a fight scheduled or not, doing so many of the right things is only going to take you to one place. And I think when I first saw you on social media, obviously you popped up as this new kid on the block, and I thought, okay, who's this guy? And I think you were
yeah.
putting it out there from the first point, from the very first day, to say, I want to be world champion, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I'll be honest, at the start, I was a bit like, this kid's like bit too ambitious, isn't he? I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
he needs to chill a bit. But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as time's gone on, and I've seen what you're putting in, and like talk about in law of attraction,
yeah, yeah,
speak the truth, right? Speak it into reality. And I feel like that's what you're doing, to the point of I'm a believer of you now.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
definitely think you can go on and do great things. So
yeah, I appreciate
no,
that. Yeah,
it's a great mindset to have. But
yeah, definitely.
how do you deal with the distractions then? Because
Uh,
as a 21-year-old, I'm not sure kind of like what your friendship groups are like, but like you said, is it just that kind of sense of having that tunnel vision which allows you to not kind of get drawn into those distractions?
yeah, it's just to be fair, you know, like it's called sacrificing it, you
Mm,
know what I mean? You gotta stay focused on yourself and stuff. So like I think from, you know, like it's gonna sound a bit funny, but I don't really have many friends, you know what I mean?
mm.
Like I stay locked in for myself. I keep close family with me, like my sisters, like my best friend, my dad, my
I don't think
mom.
there's anything wrong with that at
Yeah, my
all. Yeah.
brother-in-law, like, you know,
It's
they're my
good.
family. I got a few people at boxing that are my peoples as
Mm,
well, you know what I mean? And they stay, they're close to me. But it's just about, to me, I don't even think about
mm,
distractions. That's not even on my mind. Like I don't
mm,
think about what this person's doing, what that person's doing, or
mm,
I'm comparing myself to this guy. Like I
mm.
just do what I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
I'm my own person. Like,
Mm.
everyone that knows me knows that
You're on your
I'm
own path.
yeah, I'm on my own path, man. Like I
Mm.
look at people and I think, well done, like you
Yeah,
know, you're
yeah,
doing good for
yeah,
yourself, type
yeah.
thing. And you know, I've just always been that guy that just has to make sacrifices. Like I think it's a key part of success in
Mm,
it. If you want to get somewhere in life, you have to, firstly you have to believe in yourself. Like if I don't believe in myself, no one's gonna believe in me. You
mm,
know what I mean? It
mm,
come like when I first did come onto the pro scene and that, and I did
mm,
speak on it. I wanted to prove to people first, but now it's come to myself. Like I want to prove to myself how far I can go. I want to surpass my own expectations because I feel like I can go all the way. You
mhm.
know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
just a something I say. It's like I believe in myself. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
want to get to where I want to be, and it's gonna stay like that until the end. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if I
yeah.
take minor L's or little things happen behind the scenes. I am gonna go to where I'm gonna get to where I want to be, regardless of what people gotta say.
Mm,
What, you know, this is within me that I'm
yeah.
gonna do. So you know, but yeah, like I had a lot of friends growing up, but at the same time, like as I got older, I felt like I just had to
Your
let it go.
circle gets smaller as you
Yeah,
get older.
yeah, of course.
Sometimes it's better to have a smaller circle than
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bigger circle of friends who really aren't going to help you get to where you need to be in
yeah.
life, right?
Well, the thing is, like, you know, like as they say, you gotta kind of be selfish to build your own empire.
Yeah.
So you gotta
Mm,
kind of just stay on your own zone and stay locked in, stay focused on what you want to do. And I just stay focused, man. Like
mm,
I'm not really worried about what other people think about me.
yeah.
I don't really, to be fair, I've never really cared what people thought about me. Like
Mm,
that's why I'm going so far with my life
mm,
already. Like I'm growing, I'm staying true to my path. You know what I mean? And you know, if you look at all the greatest athletes like Cole Bryant, they'll say the same thing. They don't give a
mm.
crap what people think about
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
Mayweather's the same. Like, and that's what you gotta think, man. You gotta
Mm.
be strong in your own energy.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? You gotta stay focused on yourself at all times, and that's it.
It is so true, and I think, especially in this day and age, it can be a little bit tougher to do that for some people with social
Yeah,
media, and you go down that comparison route. You start looking at what other people are
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
and they say comparison is like the thief of joy, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
It's a
Yeah,
dangerous route to go down. And like you said, you focus on your own lane, you focus on your own path. If somebody else is doing great,
yeah,
great,
yeah, yeah.
thumbs up to them. But
100%.
you're on a different path.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
taking your own path, and I think that's the best way to go, isn't it? I think.
100%, man. Like that's just how I've been from.
Yeah.
I'd probably say about 3 years ago. I've just
Yeah.
been on this same mindset. I've been growing, finding different ways to get mentally tougher as well, including
Yeah.
training, like little things I do behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So as long as I stay on this path, which I will, and I'm a believer of Waiguru as well. Like
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I stay focused on God. Like, what I mean. I go God there as much as I possibly can. And,
It's funny. I think boxing can be a very lonely sport at times,
yeah,
right? Whether
yeah,
it be your road runs, you're in the gym or whatever. And it's funny that I'm just thinking back to when I used to box, and God is someone you turn to quite often on that
yeah, 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 hundred
during
percent.
those moments when you're quite alone,
Yeah, yeah,
which just shows how kind of it can be such a supportive thing
yeah,
in the
100%.
sport of boxing, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like obviously you just got like for me, I believe in God heavily, like, I just always think that if I ever need to turn back to something, it's Waiguru, which is the
Mm,
one, you know what I mean? And I look into Sikhism as well. Like
mm,
I find that the teachings that we're all one in this world, we all wanna, spread love and
yeah,
compassion
yeah,
and,
yeah.
gratitude and say thank you to the one for giving me so many blessings and stuff. And that's just how I've always been. Like my
So
mom's
yeah,
always my mom's always taught me how to
practicing that gratitude as well,
exactly,
right?
man.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, I don't, there's always just love out there in the world,
Mm,
and I'm spreading positive vibrations towards other people. Like
mm,
anyone that knows me is close to me as friends, and that been my friend, they know that I've always spread that good vibrations towards them. I've kind of
mm,
motivated the younger generation to come forward as well, and
yeah.
I'm just gonna stay like this all my life. Like I'm just staying. To be fair,
Mm,
this is funny because a lot of people, the more successful they become, the more like they become like ignorant and arrogant and all these
mm,
things. And with me, the more successful I become, the more wiser I become.
yeah, yeah,
The more
yeah.
I'm learning that what, without God, like I'm nothing type of
Mm,
thing. And my mum's always kind of taught me that as well. Like without God, we are kind of nothing. And that's just
yeah,
my
yeah,
belief.
yeah.
That's not everyone's belief, but
Mm,
that's how I believe. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So yeah, it's just that's how it is for me, man.
And what was your mum and dad's view of you wanting to turn professional?
Oh man,
Were they supportive of it? Because
yeah, yeah,
it's a dangerous, brutal game, isn't it? And
yeah.
sometimes it can take you to some dark places. So what were their thoughts when you wanted to turn pro?
Nah, they was happy, man.
Were they?
It's just part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like this is boxing. Like it's a hurt game for a reason. I've been
yeah.
doing it
Mm,
all my life. My mum seen me
mm,
come back with black eyes and all sorts, and
yeah,
my mum thinks it's good. We
yeah,
come from like a race, a religion where
yeah.
we're warriors type thing, so it kind of runs in my bloodline to kind of fight. But like in my bend in India, like which means my village, we actually been in the army and that, like my
Mm,
family, like my
okay.
granddads and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it kind of runs in my generation to kind of
Yeah,
fight. But it's not even just that though. Like I think I'm just good at fighting, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I found a true passion. I'm succeeding. I'm doing well, and as long as I stay on this path that I'm on, my parents are happy. They're proud of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 'cause I guess one of the reasons I ask is I think especially in our culture, obviously me
Yeah,
coming from a Sikh family as well, we often get when we get to a certain age, we get pushed down the education route, right? Or
yeah,
we
yeah,
get to make sure you do your education first. You got something to fall back on, and I understand that viewpoint that okay, if the boxing doesn't work, you need to have an education to fall back on, and to some extent, you should be well educated, but sometimes I feel like if you've got a plan B, you're
yeah,
never
yeah,
fully going to commit to plan A.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
for
It's true.
me,
Yeah,
I know for a fact you've got one plan and one plan
yeah,
only.
yeah, yeah.
And I
hundred
feel like
percent.
that's the way that if you want to be in that 1% club, you
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to chase that one plan. You can't have a fallback
yeah. You
ready
can't.
and because you're going to have one eye looking on at that plan B,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah, that's like I've always thought like I've always been a part of the 1% club, like you know what I mean, because when like I said before, like when I'm at when people are out Saturday nights, and this is the way I think, you know what I mean, like it's nothing wrong with what they're doing, they're enjoying
mm,
themselves, that's their
yeah,
path, you know what I mean. But
everyone's on their own path, their own timing. Yeah.
when they're going out on a Saturday night, I'm going to the gym and I'm putting in the
Mm,
work when the gym's empty, when no
mm,
one's watching me, and that's when you're mentally tougher than most of the world type thing,
yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean. And
yeah.
I like the mindset that I've got, because if I just stay the way I am right now, like the fire that's built up in me, the one that wants to go gym, like the one that wants to train all the time, the one that wants to stay focused, study the sport of boxing when, when I'm
Mm.
just by myself chilling type thing.
Mm.
Because I've been up till like, the funniest thing is, this is what people don't realize, I'm up till 2 p.m. watching Salvador Sanchez's old
Mm.
fights, and I'm studying his lifestyle, I'm watching documentaries, because you just want to know what's going on. Like, you
Mm.
want to know who was the greats before you,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I want to be a great, but it's always good to learn from each other
What
great.
did those greats do to get to where they were?
Exactly.
How can you take snippets from each of
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
different?
Take little bits from each style of boxing as well. Like Salvador Sanchez was one of the most, I would say, the best stamina in boxing. It
Mm.
inspires me how fit he was. He could do 15 rounds. It was like he was fighting from round 1 to round
Who
15.
is your favorite fighter?
Salvador Sanchez.
Salvador
It's got
Sanchez, yeah.
like, I've got so if you're talking modern day era, it's Canelo.
Canelo.
His mindset, the way he's fighting everybody, that's the mindset I've
Mm.
got. I just want to fight everyone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, the way I see it is, Devin Haney's right about one thing. Everyone says they can call names and that, but the one thing they don't say is let's fight.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I've never heard no one say let's fight Gully. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's all right to talk in interviews, but whoever put my team puts in front of me, I'm fighting them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Regardless, I ain't bothered about no one that calls me out and still this business. Let's fight in it. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
ain't doing this none of this talking
Mm.
business. We can get it signed up and we'll fight. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's my
yeah.
mindset. Like, I don't really have no time to be on
Mm.
keyboard warrior business. Man,
Yeah,
I ain't
yeah,
got
yeah.
time for none of that. I don't really think it's calling people out and stuff is a big thing. Obviously, I've got big aspirations to fight the greatest fighters at the time. I spoke about, it'd be a dream fight for me to fight Inoue, you know what I mean? I respect him as a great champion. That's where I want to be right now. The way he's created a legacy for Japan
Yeah.
is the same way I want to create a legacy for Punjabi people, for fighters, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And, I just want to, like I said, as long as I stay focused and stay locked in, and I will, you know what I mean? I will get to where I want to be. And that's what every great champion in this world's done. And, my favorite fighter is Salvador Sanchez, but
Any others?
Roberto Duran.
Roberto
He's
Duran.
gotta be, man.
Yeah, I think I've seen you watch him a few
Yeah,
times.
he's a legend. You know what? It's a hard one out of them two, because
Mm.
I watched Sanchez and Duran. They're both like, Duran obviously achieved more because he lived longer. Obviously, Sanchez passed away at the age of 23, but it's just that one thing about Sanchez. Like, he was 21, 20, fighting Danny Lopez, Wilfredo Gomez, Azuma Nelson, all these great fighters, Pat Caldwell from the UK. Like, these fighters are not easy to beat.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Sanchez was like he had this something in him that he believed. Like Wilfredo Gomez at the time when he fought him, and I've researched into this, it's crazy. It was 32 fights, 32 wins, 32 knockouts.
Wow.
And we think, I better be if he's doing that right now. Virgil
Mm.
Ortiz Jr., these guys have got on, but to do 32 times in a row, to beat champion after champion, and for Sanchez to go in there with so much confidence,
Yeah.
and beat him as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What can you take away from him, man?
And what's your thoughts on that Better Be Evan Callum Smith fight? Did you
Oh,
watch it?
Better Be as a monster, innit?
I don't understand how somebody who's now just turned 39 years of age is getting stronger, getting more powerful, and to knock out Callum Smith, who is a concussive puncher in himself. I don't understand how he's doing it. I'm not trying to say anything or accuse anyone of anything, but I know there was something found, or irregularity, so to speak, in Better BF's system. And that's actually something I wanted to touch on, to be fair, because it's something that is probably worth considering going into the pro game now and making that transition. One thing that I've seen is, and I know you've seen it as well, some high profile fighters are testing positive now for whatever kind of illegal substance that it is. And there's a lot of people now talking, saying that there's always these new methods that are coming out where you can pass certain drugs tests, this, that, and the other. And people are now saying it's no longer a level playing field. Is that something that ever crosses your mind?
To be fair, I just if they get caught, that's their problem. You know what I mean? Like,
but if, for the sense of, if you were to get in the ring and if it was against somebody who could be on a particular
that guy's
substance,
he's still gonna lose though, isn't he? You know, the way I think of it is like,
you can only worry about yourself.
I've got God with me, you know what I mean? Like, someone could take whatever they want. Like,
someone takes it, they take it, but you control you.
I'm not scared to fight anybody. Like, I'm a clean athlete. Like, the way I train is just all mental toughness. The way I train, if I run 7 miles, is like, it's the way I'm gonna do it. But if that guy's taking it, then he knows he's cheating
Yeah.
himself. You know what I mean? If he eventually everyone gets caught.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
it's
think
true.
I
I
don't
think everyone gets their karma, right? One way or another, everyone gets it
It's
sooner
like
or later.
it's like better BF. I don't think he has to. I think he's always been powerful, man. Like, you know, he's just a monster that you seen him
I've
against.
seen his
Riyadh.
training methods.
Yeah,
They're
he's mentally
crazy.
He trained. You got to remember, in certain environments you grow up in, like where
Yeah.
he's from, they train like that. That's
Yeah,
how they train. You know
Like
what I mean?
wrestling bears and things.
Yeah, like but
Yeah.
like he's just a monster. You know what I mean? But he's a
Yeah.
great fighter, and he's a
Yeah,
humble man. Like, I've never heard Beterbiev say he looks scary. You know what I mean? But I think he's probably the nicest guy you'll ever meet. Like, you know what I mean?
Same as
Like,
Golovkin.
yeah,
I think,
Golovkin's
right?
Golovkin was just another fighter that was just a great champion. And you know, the way I see it is, like, you know, I don't really look into that type of stuff, what people are taking and stuff, because it's in every sport. People are taking something, or there's always gonna be someone gets caught. There's gonna be someone, but like I said, I just focus on myself. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's
I'm
the
not.
best way.
Yeah, like I don't really look into
Yeah.
people's, like, you know, like stuff like that. Like, Beterbiev's got a great story.
Takes your eye off the ball then, otherwise, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
You start
like,
worrying about other people and
nah,
what
it's
other
just
people are doing.
that's just what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
like I said, like anyone that
It's
gets
a good
caught,
mindset.
that's their kind of their problem. Like, the way I think of it is, as long as I stay focused on myself and I stay locked in, like, you know, if I ever fight an opponent and they get caught with it, like, you know what I mean, and they're still gonna lose, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
So how did you find that transition then from amateur to pro? Because like you said, you were quite young when you turned over.
Yeah.
And in many ways, you're still developing into that peak male physique, right? So how did that feel? Because now you're fighting kind of grown men, so to speak, established professionals. How did you find that transition?
Yeah, it was to be fair, I always had a pro style, to be honest. I never really had like the stand up amateur tip tap type of style, you know what I mean?
Come forward,
Yeah,
aggressive.
I've always had like this Mexican type of style where I'm throwing left hooks to the body, I'm throwing uppercuts, combination punches, and I'm just gonna be right in your face at all times. Like, that's how my style's always been. And you know, it was kind of easy. I find it very easy because that's just how I always fought. Like, obviously there's things I obviously learned over time, and you know, if you watch me from when I first turned pro to now, there's obviously a lot of things you probably noticed in my style that's changed. And that's anyone that's been
I
watching me
noticed
since
that a
then.
little bit, to be fair.
Yeah, there's little things that you obviously change, but you adapt and you start to. It's the more I learn each fight, like each fighter I learn from. Like, the one thing I learned about Duran is he was very loose when he threw punches, and that's why he was so good at doing 15 rounds. Same with the great champions of
He wasn't all tense for
yeah,
15 rounds,
yeah,
right?
he was just relaxed. Sometimes he'd be on the ropes. Same with Canelo. Like, if you look at Canelo, there's times in the fight where he's just chilling on the ropes, and people don't understand that's a good method. It's a tactic in it, because you're tiring the other guy out. Let him throw punches. I've got my guard tight. I'm chilling. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you got to do it properly, but like what Canelo's doing is he's tiring people out. And I know it was hard for Bivol, but I think that was too much of a jump in weight categories, in my opinion. But
I feel like Mayweather was very good at doing that as well, judging his judging the round and the time of the rounds and when to turn it on, when to turn it off.
Yeah.
Even one thing that makes me laugh is when he fought McGregor, and McGregor was like, "Oh yeah, he adapted his style when we got into the middle of the fight." I don't think he adapted his style at all. He just knew
I think
McGregor was going to tire, and he could just walk him down with his hands
Yeah.
up. With basically zero respect for his power. I think once you've done 12 rounds enough time, I think you build that kind of subconscious knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off, right?
See, Mayweather was like he's like, well, with Mayweather, in my opinion, he's one of the smartest fighters ever. Like, there's things that he does, and you just think, how the hell is he doing it? Like, you can even, I was watching this thing that Andre Berto was talking about, and they're saying like he'd be looking at you, holding you, taking a deep breath, and then you're throwing a punch, and he's looking at you whilst you're throwing a punch,
Really?
and he's just out of the way, like. And Mayweather's like, he's one of them, like, in every performance he fought differently. Like, he fought Canelo very effectively, but then he fought Medina differently. You know what I mean? There's a different. It's mad. And then when
he
he
can
fought,
adapt very well.
he fought Diego Corrales, completely different to the way he fought Arturo Gatti. When he fought Gatti, he went for Gatti. You know what I mean? He absolutely.
What he did to Gatti there
and
was
Gatti's
was
a flipping
brutal.
tough man.
Yeah, I love
tough
Gatti.
man. Yeah, he's a legend. And if you see Gatti fight Ruales and all these other great champions that he fought, and there's one fight I was watching.
Have you seen the Gatti and Ward fights?
Yeah, I've watched them.
If there's any fights that get me hyped, it's got to be those ones, right?
I think the first one especially.
Yeah, it's got to be the first one. Yeah.
The first one was just it's because they both didn't know what is to expect. But
imagine being in the crowd for that fight.
Know,
for me, that is one of the best ever fights
you'll
see, right?
Definitely. Listen, like, it doesn't matter about the resumes that Mickey Ward obviously took a few L's and Gatti
Yeah.
took a few L's, but there was great champions in
Yeah.
the heart. You know what I
100%.
mean? Like Mickey Ward was a great fighter. He beat O'Leary, is that his name? O'Leary. He beat him. That he was an underdog. He beat a guy called Sanchez. I think he's an underdog. Like people like Mickey Ward, they just got that mindset where they just don't give a crap. They're just gonna fight because they're not scared to fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Gatti was the same. I don't
Mm.
think Gatti, when he fought De La Hoya, I'm pretty sure after that he just moved down weight categories and fought another great champion. Like he
Yeah.
fought there's two other fights that he had as well against Robinson, Ivan Robinson.
Yeah. I
There's
think I've
two
seen that one.
fights, and the thing is, people don't know about them two fights, but they're like underrated wars, man. Like I've watched both of them fights.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the first one was obviously a lot more intense, but you see things and you think like, I look at Gatti and think, what made you come back so strong? That I remember I've got the same feeling in me. You know what I mean? I just don't really like take like a give up mentality. Like it doesn't matter how many times you take a minor L, the real L is you giving up. You know what I mean? So I'm not willing to give up in a fight and be like, oh yeah, just because I took a L. Like let's just say hypothetically, I take a L in a boxing match and I think, yeah, that's it. Now I'm done. That's not the mentality you should have. There's always a comeback. Like I see a lot of fighters complaining about their zeros going now, and you know there's no opportunity. But now you got to build back into it, man. You know what I mean? You can't just be there like, you got to take a gamble, take a hard fight, and beat that guy, and that's how you just got to be. It's just boxing for you, innit?
I think not even in boxing. They're saying live, if you want to get somewhere, sometimes you've got to take that risk. You've got to take that gamble, right? Else you're just playing safe all the time. Sometimes
100%.
it doesn't get you anywhere, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So, and if anything, let's say you do take the L, it's an opportunity to come back bigger and better.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
So, no, I admire that mindset. But let's go back to talking about you and your career. Recently, obviously, you just fought on Sky Sports on the undercard of Adam Azim's fight in Wolverhampton, in your hometown, which must have been a great experience.
Yeah, it was sick, man.
So just tell me a little bit about that, because I watched the fight. I thought you did very well. And it wasn't a guy who I thought came to lie down and just take the L. I think if there was an upset on the cards, he definitely would have. Well, I think he was trying to go for it. He was swinging. But I think you stayed very calm, very composed. You were rolling punches. Very, very well. But yeah, how did you find the whole experience?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Obviously, it's in Wolverhampton. Firstly, you know what I mean. I'm from Wolverhampton. You know, I support my own city. You know what I mean. This is where I'm from, and this main thing is it was at the Civic Hall. The Civic Hall has not been open for a long time, and that was
it looked like a nice arena.
It's nice, man. Like the
Civic tiered, wasn't it?
Like there's like different layers. Man. Like so, yes, it's amazing, man. That was the first fighter in ages from Wolverhampton. Like I'm actually from Wolves as well. I literally live like 5 minutes away from it, so it's mad. Like how I could just literally just fight in my home city, and
that must have been nice.
Yeah, I had the home city crowd, sold all my tickets. I sold out the flipping thingy. Like
awesome.
we needed 200 tickets, man. Like we needed a lot more, man. I was selling them out. Like people's asking me constantly, I want to come, and you know,
as somebody that says he hasn't got a lot of friends, it sounds like you got a lot of support, which is
loner, man. Nah, but I got a lot of support. Like I appreciate all my supporters. You know what I mean? Like even like that. It's just because I'm so isolated in my own vision. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't have people around me or nothing. And like, but it's just
keep your circle
I'm just
small,
very
compact.
I'm out the way. Like I've never really tried to fit in with people, like friends and crowds and stuff like that. But if I see someone and they show me respect, I'm going to show you respect. You know what I mean? Like as Mayweather says, if you disrespect me, I'm going to disrespect you. If you respect me, I'm going to respect you. That's the mentality I have. But nah, I ignore it. Or like, you know, if anyone says anything bad, like it don't really bother me or nothing. But like I was saying, it was just an amazing experience. Like fighting first time, I'm a young man in the sport of boxing, fighting on a big platform in my city. No pressure, man. I was ready for it. That's the moments I've been.
You look completely ready for it. You didn't look like you were a rabbit in the headlights or anything. It looked like you were meant to be there.
Yeah, of course.
Did you feel like that?
Yeah, man. I've manifested every single moment, and that's what I've been praying for all this time. You know what I mean? And like I said, God comes in massive at these situations. Like there's been so many hard times, there's so many good times, but like that was a great moment for me to shine on the big stage and show everybody that that's what I'm the truth, like, you know what I mean? And I take that from Errol Spence, man, like the truth, like, you know, I like that name. And it's just a great experience. Like once again, shout out to everyone that came out and watched it. You know, it was a flipping great experience.
So obviously that was on the undercard of the Adam Azim fight. Did I see that you've done some sparring sessions with with him as well.
Yeah, yeah, we
I'm
was,
surely he's a good few weight
yeah,
divisions
yeah.
above you, right?
So I was weighing in about 50, and I think he was at super lightweight at the time. So
Mm,
he's probably about half a stone, maybe a bit more than that. But
mm,
it was like we just went there, and obviously it was not actually me sparring. Someone from my gym was sparring Anthony Fowler at the time,
mhm.
and I just jumped in with some rounds because I bought my bag like because I thought if I get some rounds in,
Yeah.
But
Oh, so you
I
got
did,
some of that done as
yeah, I got a
well.
couple rounds in, yeah,
How
yeah.
did you feel like you,
It
you
was
handled it?
it's good,
How'd you
man.
own?
It was good,
Because
man. Yeah,
he's
he's
bloody
slick.
quick,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
he?
he's good, man. Like one of the hardest spars I've had, but at the same time, I felt good in myself because
Yeah,
like I'm sparring the top fighters,
yeah,
and
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time he just got signed to box. I think it was like his second or third fight coming into it, and
He has a lot of good things to say about you as well. I've noticed
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a
from
good guy,
somebody
man.
of his pedigree as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
He's a
some
proper.
going.
One thing about Adam Azim is one of the most humblest people I've ever
Mm,
met. Like as a fighter, like the way like he's another guy that is becoming more wiser as he's
mm.
succeeding. Like he just stays the same way, and
Yeah, seems
uh,
very down to
yeah,
earth.
yeah, very respectful. And like when I
Mm,
sparred him and stuff, he's giving me props after, and Shane McGuigan was and all that. So
mm.
they got a nice camp, man. Like I've
Yeah.
got full respect for Adam Azim. He's a good guy, and I know he's gonna go far, man. Like I'm gonna take over the super bantamweight division. He's gonna take over the division. He's at a
Yeah,
super
yeah.
lightweight, so I just hope he keeps succeeding and doing his thing.
Who are some of the names that I know it's still very early days, isn't it? You're 7 fights in, but I know you said you don't like to call people out, but are there any particular names in your weight? You're super feather, what? Right?
Super bantamweight.
Super
So
bantam.
basically, I've not actually had an opponent at super bantamweight. There's always been some politics and fighters want this, and there's always been
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
sorts. But there's not a particular name. Like I seen Dennis McCann. I said, "Yo, let's get
Ah,
it,
okay.
man." You
Dennis
know what I mean?
McCann.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I seen him at one of the shows. I said,
How
"Listen,
many fights has he had now?
I don't. I think he's at about. I don't know. I think he must have about 15, 16
I
maybe."
think the good thing for you is that you don't have to rush.
No, no, no.
Like, I think you can.
Listen, I'm not bothered about who they fight, man. I don't
Yeah,
like the way I see it is like I'm just ready to fight anybody.
yeah.
That's why I stay focused for. You know what I mean? There's not a particular. I sparred the top guy, Liam Davis, in my division.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Obviously, I want what he has. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So if everyone's the same promotion, if things like that ever happen, we'll go for it. You know what I mean? I just like I'm not type of guy that'd be like, oh yeah, um, like if I got offered to fight for the British title, I'm taking that fight because I'm gonna
Mm,
fight for it. I'm ready for that. You know what I mean? I
mm,
know I'm not. There's not a rush or anything, but at the same time, if everything goes to plan, why not? You
mm.
know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
here to take fights, big fights in the future, and if I want to build a legacy for myself, I'm willing to fight anybody. You know what I mean? So that's how it's got
Mm.
to be.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the best mindset to have, to be honest. And you were just talking before about some of the difficult moments that you've had to get past in your career so far. What would you say a couple of those moments are where you've had some real obstacles in your way?
There's to be fair, there's all sorts of little things that go on, like fading away from your love of your boxing sport and just going on the wrong path. Like for
Do you have any of those moments where you're like, why am I doing this?
nah, not really. I
Yeah,
love boxing too much to even think like that.
that's good.
Like boxing's not really a thing that I can really stop doing now. It's a
Mm,
part of me. It's who I
mm,
am.
yeah,
It's a strong desire within myself. But I think the main thing for me is just it's just I've had a lot of bad phases where I've been on the wrong path. I've done the wrong things, and
mm.
but at the same time, I'm willing to.
What's brought you back onto the right path during those moments?
I think it comes down to you accepting that that's not the life you want.
Yeah,
So like for me, it was like a big switch up. Like whatever thought I thought in the morning one day, which was negative, to the next day, where it's like, what am I doing with my life? It's like that thing that's speaking in the back of your
it's
mind.
good that you're able to self-reflect like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
In a tuition, like I'm admitting, man, like I was not even. I didn't exactly do the right things that I wanted to do, but at the same time, I'm actually kind of glad I went through a lot of things like that so I can get to where I want to be today. Because without them moments, that built up fire would never have been built up. You
Mm,
know what I mean? I needed
yeah,
that fire to kind of go on
mm,
towards where I want to be in life and stuff. So
yeah, yeah,
I've just stayed focused on myself. Like I said, like in 2021, I hit a stage where the start of the 6 weeks, I just went gym every day.
yeah.
I don't think I even took a day off. I was
Mm,
so focused, and something clicked, man. I don't know what it was,
mm,
but some type of energy, fire came into me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go all the way now. This is the
yeah.
time for me to shine. You know what I mean?
What is it that you want to achieve in boxing? How far do you want to take it? What's the goal?
It's a legacy for me, and I want to win titles. That's the main thing, but it's the legacy. It's like,
Are you going
of
after those world titles?
course I am, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do. Like,
I didn't see no hesitation there when I
Yeah,
asked you,
nah,
so I
there's
can
no
tell. Like
hesitation.
I knew it already. I know that's what you want, and there's no hesitation. You
See,
saying that's what you're going
there's a
for.
lot of like I've seen a lot of young fighters saying they want to be world champion, they want to do this, but you got to kind of believe in yourself to say it.
Mm,
Like I don't actually advertise I want to do. I advertise the legacy more to me.
yeah,
The legacy is important to me because
you got to speak it into reality as well,
exactly,
right?
man. Like it's easy to just for me to say, yeah, I want to fight for a world title tomorrow. I want to win a British title. I want to do this. I want to do that. But your energy type has to believe in it.
Mm,
You got to actually put the work in for where you
yeah.
want to be. So like for I've watched this video before. Like I study a lot about manifestation, law of attraction. You know what I mean?
Mm.
There's a few books I've seen. Read a
Which
couple
I
of
have
things
to
about.
say works.
Yeah, hundred
Yeah,
percent.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like with manifesting and the law of attraction, it's calm. We can all believe in what we want, but you got to work for it as well. The
You got
secret
to
of it,
take those
yeah,
steps
yeah, it's a
to move
secret.
forward.
The
Yeah.
secret of it is your energy has to believe in it as well. So
Mm,
you got to kind of put your whole life and dedicate yourself to get to where you want to be in life. And like with me, like when I've seen so many people say they want to be world champions, and I respect that. That's
mm,
cool. But it's easy to say that, but at the same time, it's like you want to be focused. You need to stay ready. You need to train hard when no one's
mm.
watching. You need to
Yeah.
do the extra miles. You might be in the shadow of another fighter in your gym. You might be, hitting rock bottom, but just don't give up. That's the mentality, and you'll get where you want to be slowly and slowly, slowly. If you keep faith, stay strongly within yourself, and stay focused within yourself, and keep manifesting, then great things can happen.
Yeah, because when we talk about manifestation and law of attraction, like I said to you, from watching various clips of you not just talk, but also fight, like I said, you remind me of the personality reminds me of people like the Tyson Fury, like the Conor McGregors of this
Yeah,
world.
yeah,
And I know they're superstars at the minute, but
yeah.
if you look at where both of them came from, and I don't think anyone would have believed Conor McGregor at the beginning if they told it, if
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was kind of speaking his truth and where he wanted to get to, nobody would have believed him. And I think same for Tyson Fury when he was weighing about 30 odd
Yeah,
stone.
yeah, yeah,
And I think there's one quote which I want to say which reminds me of you a lot, and it's a quote that Conor McGregor said. He goes, "I've lost my mind on this game, like Vincent Van Gogh, dedicated his life to his art, and he lost his mind in the process."
yeah, yeah,
And I feel that's very similar to the mindset that you have where you're so tunnel vision, you're so obsessed with that goal that you want to get.
yeah, yeah,
You're not bothered about what other people are doing or if anybody else thinks you're crazy. You've got your mind on that one goal and you're going to go for it, right?
yeah, yeah, 100%. That's how I think every day when I wake up. It's like as soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is watch boxing. It's
Mm,
weird. It's something that's just in my mind, in my heart. Like I just want to watch boxing. The next thing I want to do is do my jogs and stuff. So like
mm,
if I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, the first thing I'm doing is watching boxing
yeah.
because it just puts you in the mood. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just the energy you put out there. If you want to put that energy where I want to train today, I'm gonna grind, I'm gonna focus on what that one thing that I want. That's the energy that's gonna
Mm,
be brought back to you as well,
yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So like you just gotta kind of believe in it. So that's it. Spot on. I've seen that somewhere before as well. That's spot on, man. Like that, I've lost my mind over
Yeah,
boxing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like
I'm not even where I want to be yet either. So
I feel like that's what you need to do in a certain, especially in the fight game. I feel like you do kind of need to lose your mind a little
yeah,
bit
you do
to
that.
reach that pinnacle of a particular sport to the extent where, yeah, maybe other people think you are a bit crazy, a bit
Yeah, yeah,
deluded, but you have that ridiculous sense of self belief in your
yeah,
own
yeah.
ability that you're like, oh, I'm going to get there. I'm going to be there regardless of what adversities I
Anyone says.
face, right?
Well, everyone's always got something to say at any
Yeah,
point in
yeah.
your life. You could be working towards your dreams. Like you could be just sitting
Mm,
here right now, and like someone's could make a comment that the way I'm talking. It doesn't matter. Like
mm.
whatever we do in life, you could be walking down the street, and it's the way you're walking.
Some
There's always
100%.
someone saying something. So I don't really like before. I used to think like, oh yeah, I care about this. But when I was about probably 18, 19, I used to think, am I saying the right things? Am I doing this? But now I just think what I'm saying is true though, innit? You get me? So
Mm,
like if I'm focusing on myself, if
mm,
I'm ready to go towards where I want to be, whatever I put it out in the universe
mm.
is what I'm gonna put out in the
Yeah,
universe. You know
yeah,
what I mean? That I
definitely.
believe in it. So like I don't need someone else to tell me I'm believing in it. I believe in myself. That's how it should
Yeah.
be. And that's what Conor McGregor did. Like the way he came up and that, like I'm pretty sure he had nothing. Like he was coming up,
Mm,
he made it. And same with Tyson Fury, same with Floyd. Floyd was the same as well.
put the
Floyd,
work in, right?
yeah, Floyd was constantly running 8 miles every day, and you can see what he says. He says he don't care about what no one says about him.
Mm,
So someone's always got something to say. It doesn't matter
yeah.
what you do. Like this could be out anyone that's watching as well.
Mm,
It's about you just staying in your own energy, your own
mm,
focus. You know what I mean, and just forget the whole world. Just
mm.
focus on you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it's a
That's
very
it.
mature mindset to have,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think I've only kind of built that into my own mind kind of
yeah,
as of
yeah,
late, because it's true. I think growing up, you see a lot of other people who want to give opinions of you of what you're doing, especially as you're probably yourself trying to level up, and you may not be doing something that's the norm, and because it's not the norm, and people may look at it and think, well, why are you doing this? Why are you saying that? And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you just have honestly got to focus on yourself, right? And kind of in one ear, out
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other.
that's it, man.
So
Like, listen, I'll be honest with you. Like, when if you look at any great champion when there's coming up, or
mm,
any great athlete when there's coming up, the first thing they would say to you is they're putting that work in it.
mm,
You gotta put that extra work in. You gotta put that extra mile in. It's like when you're running 6 miles, you gotta run that extra mile to get the 7 miles. And if you don't feel like that's enough, go the 8 miles. You know what I mean? Like,
mm.
there's some days where I just wake up in the morning and I think, you know what? I don't think 7 miles is enough today. I think I need to do 8, man. I need to go the extra mile because that's how a championship fight is, man. You know
It's
what I mean?
it's like a case of it feels like it's a case of trying to break the body to build the mind,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. Yeah, mental toughness. Like, listen, like boxing is 95% mental. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what anyone says.
I
You could have
completely agree with
your
you. Yeah.
greatest, you could have the greatest ability. You could be a flipping Mayweather ability, but not have the same
Mm,
mindset as
mm,
Mayweather. And like, I have the mindset and I have the ability, which is dangerous because I
mm,
believe that I have both as well.
mm,
So anyone that sparred me, I've sparred top opposition, I've sparred Kane Baker, all these great
mm,
champion like fighters from the UK, Brad Foster, Liam Davis, you know what I mean? And I believe in myself. Every time I step in the
mm,
ring with anyone that I've sparred, Adam
mm.
Azim, I sparred Adam Azim. I didn't go in there thinking, oh yeah, I'm really
You
like,
weren't like wow, like bowing
yeah,
down to
I
him kind
can't
of thing.
believe it. Nah,
You're like,
just
all right, this is a chance for me to
yeah, yeah,
showcase my ability that I
exactly.
belong here. Yeah.
And like, like I said, like, same way when someone like if I'm gonna ever fight in my life, you know what I mean? Like if someone's calling me out, whatever, let's do it, man.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I ain't flipping scared of no one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to explain it to people because it's easy to just say like with me, I've got more of a mentality. It's like, all right, you come up to me, you tell me you want to fight, let's do it then.
Mm,
I'll do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
I ain't about this life where I'm just gonna be talking rubbish about somebody.
mm,
Forget that. I'm respect every fighter for what they do with their
mm.
life. You know what I mean? I know sometimes it's about the build up of the fight and stuff. Yeah, it's cool, but at the same time, man to man, let's come together. Let's agree to the fight. Let's do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. The
let's
old
not.
fashioned
Yeah,
way.
let's not. Yeah, that's
There's
what
too
this.
much politics in it
Yeah, it's too
nowadays,
much
I feel.
politics, man. Like when it comes to you, and people realize the more I get up in my career and the more I focus, I'll see that type of
Mm.
vision. That's what Bitterbeef does.
Yeah.
That's what like the Monson Inoue. I've never seen Inoue even say never wants to fight. He doesn't talk about any
Mm.
fighter. Whoever they put in front
Just
of him,
gets
he's
in there and
fighting, and that's what I'm
destroys
gonna
them,
do.
doesn't he?
So
Yeah.
it's easy for people to call you out, but at the same time, it's not easy for them to say let's fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
So like, I just think
definitely.
let's fight, man. Let's do it, man. Like
Mm,
I'm ready for whoever comes in front of me. I've been like that when I was a kid. I was when I was to turn pro. I was sparring super welterweight
mm.
because I was a bit heavier than normal. So like I've always been that type of guy that likes to challenge himself.
Yeah,
Anyway, I've
yeah, yeah.
sparred heavier weight categories, lower weight categories. Now my coach used to call me a bit crazy because I used to spar people bigger than me, but at the same time, that's what's made me mentally tough because
Yeah.
I've known that I've been against bigger guys. I've been against top opposition in sparring. I'm getting better at
You're having
my
to
own
adapt to
ability.
so many different
100%.
styles as
Yeah,
well.
there's been
Mm,
times where my coach has literally got like 4 different
mm,
fighters. So I've done 12. So I sparred 12 rounds. Yesterday I did a similar thing. Sparred 3 different fighters, all
mm.
experienced, very good
Yeah.
fighters. You know what I mean?
Mm.
One pro, 2 good, very, very
Yeah,
good
yeah,
amateurs. But the point I'm trying to say is amateur fighters and pros have a different type of style. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
But every single one of them have a different style. You know
Mm,
what I mean? And the reason why my coach does that is because it's about mindset.
mm.
So can you adapt? How quick can you adapt? And I adapt very quick.
Yeah.
And Mayweather says to be a great champion, you got to adapt to anything. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
Mayweather's doing that with every fighter. So,
Yeah,
you know,
it's funny. Obviously, you talked about like manifestation and kind of speaking things into reality. Like I remember when I used to watch Mayweather going on these kind of late night runs or early
yeah,
morning
yeah,
runs,
yeah,
whatever it was. He'd always um, repeat the words, obviously hard work, dedication, which is known as his kind of phrase.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I always just used to at the time see it as a thing of like kind of for the cameras, but
yeah, yeah.
you can see it genuinely wasn't. That was him drilling it into his head
Said,
that he's a one man army,
yeah,
which he
yeah,
used to say on his runs, I'm a
yeah. One man
one man
army.
army,
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
work, dedication.
That's it,
And he
man.
had drilled that into his head to such a point where, like he said, he had that crazy self belief in his own ability, right?
Yeah, it does, man. Like, you see, Mayweather was just, when I think about Mayweather, I think about electric energy.
Mm,
He had this electric energy about him. He was so naturally gifted in his own way because he focused on himself so much, the way he developed as a fighter from when he was in the Olympics. That's
Yeah.
probably the best thing that happened
Which
to
he
him.
got robbed in as well,
Yeah,
didn't
he
he?
got robbed, but I
Yeah.
think that made him realize he didn't want to lose anymore.
Mm.
And that's where that winning mentality got built from him. So Mayweather's probably one of the realest fighters I can say is out there in the world. I understand he's changed the game in certain ways where people don't like it about the zeros and certain things, but that was his legacy. He was bound to do it at some point. I don't hate Mayweather for doing that because that's a part of his legendary status. That's what he became a legend. So because he's so far up there now and he's become this undefeated champion of the world, and he's a great champion. And like what he's done now is he's changed the game completely. And anytime you think about the zero, you think about Mayweather.
Yeah,
It's true
you
though,
do.
isn't it?
You do. You
It
do.
doesn't matter how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
times you can go out there and say something bad, someone's saying good or bad, they're talking about the
Yeah.
man. And Mayweather's changed the game completely. Like, and there's talks about him and Pacquiao fighting and in his prime, but I only see Pacquiao was a hell of a fighter. Like I will say it as well. Like I sound like Floyd now, but he's one hell of a fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Mayweather was gonna beat Pacquiao at any point in his career.
I think he would have as well. But there was one person who I always, and you're probably surprised, you may even laugh, and I think a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but somebody who I think had the worst style for him, probably around the time that maybe he was beating Canelo, probably around that point. Because I know Mayweather at his peak was in his early days when he was like knocking out people like Gatti. But I think a bit further down the line, I think is when he chose to fight Maidana actually. He did a poll of shall I fight Maidana or can you remember who else it was? Amir Khan.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Amir Khan at his peak, obviously he hasn't got a good chin.
Yeah.
But at that point, I don't think Mayweather was that much of a concussive puncher at that point in his career. Obviously, he was still on it, but I just feel like with Amir Khan's speed, in and out, long range, could have caused him problems. Am I totally wrong there, or do you think he could have caused him problems?
I see what you mean. Like, to be fair, I thought De La Hoya in his prime could have been a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I feel like De La Hoya had the style to beat Floyd.
That was a close fight, to be fair.
It was close, but I think Floyd wasn't as big as De La Hoya. De La Hoya has been at middleweight and all these other flipping weight categories he's gone to. I don't know where. He even fought Bernard Hopkins. So you got to remember, he was naturally bigger now. Whereas Floyd, he looked very small compared to him. I don't know if anyone realized, but he was just coming up from super. I think he came up from super lightweight.
For a lot of weight.
So he's quite a small guy in it, like Mayweather. But at the time, but I think what it is with De La Hoya style, like, but okay, we'll go on to that in a sec. But Amir Khan, I don't think he'd have beat Floyd. I think Amir Khan's a great fighter and he always challenged himself. And I respect Khan for many things. He built a legacy. Once again, he created a legacy and paved the pathway for so many Asian fighters moving forward. And it's just done one great job.
You think Mayweather would have worked him out?
His mindset is just different, isn't it? Like,
that's one thing about Mayweather. He's good at adapting to any style, which
different.
Is
like out of any fighter in the world, Mayweather's got the strongest mindset. I've got to say, like, I look up to his mindset. His mindset is like he just refuses to lose. He'll do anything. And people are gonna say he lost to Castillo and he lost to Medina. I don't think he lost to Medina at all. He flipping out. Medina was missing. Like, Castillo maybe, but even then, like, they're always gonna pick out the negative things about him. But what about the great things?
When someone's on top, it's very easy.
What about when he beat Canelo?
Yeah,
like Canelo's look at him now, like beating everyone. Like, obviously he lost against Bivol, but that was too much. I think that was too much of a weight.
You can you spoke about his like reluctance to lose and do anything he can to not lose. Like even think about the fight with Shane Mosley, where he was like badly hurt, and you can tell there was not a chance in hell that he was gonna let himself be knocked out there. He did what he needed, and then absolutely picked Mosley apart, didn't he? After he was hurt.
But that's adapting, isn't it? That's
he's so good at adapting.
But you gotta remember the way he used to train. Like, I read his book as well. His mindset, it's called the Floyd Mayweather Mind. So I've actually read about his mind and the way he thinks. So other people's perspectives, Abjudah, other great fighters, his dad, himself, like the way he trained was insane. Like people think I train insane, but I think Mayweather trains insane.
What was it that Mayweather used to have in his? Was it the doghouse where you'd get into the ring, unlimited rounds, and So he's been brought from like humble beginnings, right? Where he didn't have no flashy kind of upbringing in the boxing scene. He had to work for what he got, right?
Yeah, he was see, with Mayweather, like his lifestyle, everything that he came from, I don't blame him the way he acts now. You gotta understand the man came from nothing. He grinded his whole life to get to where he wants to be. The way he was speaking, yes, we understand he was a trash talker, but he built up fights. But I don't think I've ever heard him really disrespect a fighter that badly, though. Like, yes, we understand he says he was annoying De La Hoya and he's
Yeah,
annoying
I think
Ricky
everyone
Hatton.
knows he's playing the
Yeah,
character,
he's playing,
right?
but he's
Yeah.
not. But deep down,
Afterwards, yeah,
he's a good guy,
he's always
innit? Like,
humble.
and
He knows it's a business game as well.
see, people don't like Floyd, but I think Floyd's a great guy. I think
He-
he's, like I understand he
I
is
think
who he is.
he wanted to play the villain first,
Yeah,
right? I'm not gonna lie, it got the views, it
yeah,
got the
it
numbers
did.
up. You see him
Yeah,
against Ricky Hatton, what he was like.
yeah,
But then I think slowly people started to
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
bad guy kind of vibe that he was giving off, and it works for him,
Just
right?
yeah, just a great. I think he's a great champion, and he
Yeah,
always his legacy will continue for many years now.
yeah,
That zero thing is going to
yeah,
continue, and it is what it is. Like, obviously, like I said, I
mm,
respect him because that's his part of his career. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So yeah, man, that's what everyone wants to do, and we all want to create our own
yeah,
type of legacy, our own, you know,
mm,
character. We want to create our own, like, something that we can be remembered for. And I think
yeah,
even I'm trying to do the same thing. So when
mm,
I look at Floyd doing it, I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
yeah. One thing that I did want to ask you as well is obviously you just fought on Sky Sports. It was promoted by Boxer
yeah,
Ben Shalom. Um, Obviously you're 7-0 now. Surely some promoters started to take notice
Hmm.
after that show. Obviously they got you on the card. Surely Ben must have taken notice. Other promoters must be taking notice that you're gathering quite a large following now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that something that you think could be happening soon, or do you think they're starting to take notice?
I think everyone's starting to take notice. They
Yeah.
all know who I am now. I mean, the promoters, the fighters, anyone out there, they know I'm a threat. You know what I
Mm,
mean? That's the way they should be
mm,
using. But if it comes down to promotion wise, I think Ben Shalom, I did speak to him after, and he was really impressed. He said
yeah.
he heard a lot about me anyway. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So something is definitely coming.
Keep doing what you're doing,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing. There's something coming, and I'm gonna stay focused. I'm not gonna keep my just because I've been on one show on Sky Sports. I'm not just gonna take my eye off the ball. I'm gonna stay focused. It doesn't matter how far I go in life. I'm gonna stay focused
Yeah.
regardless of what situation I'm in. Maybe in the future I can sit down and have a
You can
relaxation
look
day.
back, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's a very good mindset because it's like you're not getting too carried away with the
yeah,
highs,
yeah,
and you're
yeah.
not getting too beaten up by the lows, right? You're staying calm, composed in
I
the middle,
I haven't
focus on that
achieved
goal.
I haven't achieved anything yet, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like, yes, I know I'm young. I know I'm turned professional at a young age. I know I've won 7 fights, and for me, it's been very difficult to find opponents. It's like we've tried to find so many opponents, and it's like it's been difficult for me. Like, and people don't
Why is it so
because it's my
difficult?
style. I think it's
Is it the
like
fact that that they don't want to fight you? Is it that yeah?
if it
What
comes
is
down
it?
to if we're gonna look at it from a perspective of why don't fighters want to fight, it's always the fact that obviously when you're starting off your career, you obviously have to fight journeymen.
Mm,
A lot of journeymen don't want to be stopped in it.
mm.
With my style, I'm
That's
very
what they build themselves on,
yeah,
right? Is not being stopped.
but that's their role though. I respect what they do, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
They're fighters themselves, but
yeah.
at the same time they're still looking after their own career. But there's just so much politics in boxing.
Mm,
There's so much, and whatever happens, it's not down to me, it's down to my team to sort
mm,
out. So my coach is great with all this
mm.
stuff. He's a manager as well, Richie Carter, great guy, like he knows what he's doing. My
When are you hoping to be out?
well, hopefully we're over March time now.
Right, so
So
not too far away.
yeah, so I'd say about 5 weeks, six
Yeah.
weeks I'll have a fight date. It'll
If
be in the next 6 weeks that that I'm definitely fighting. So I'm not saying
awesome.
like we'll find out next week, but the fight date will probably be in the next 6 weeks.
Okay,
You know what I
so
mean?
not
So it's
long.
not too far away, but there's something in mind, but I can't really say too much right now.
Okay.
I can't
You
because
sure?
yeah, I can't
Not
because
even a
it's
clue.
too. I've been told to stay quiet about these
Yeah.
things, but worst
You can
case
drop us an
scenario.
exclusive if you want. It's up
No,
to
no, no. Worst
you.
case scenario, there's always a backup plan we've got.
Yeah.
So there's
Okay. Good
always
stuff.
something we can look back on. So until the thumbs up, I can't
Yeah.
say nothing at all.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that though, like I said, I'm just ready to fight anybody, man.
Okay.
That's it. It's just ready to do the business. Like, I called out the English champion. I did call out the English champion. I said I
Yeah.
want to
Who
fight
is that? Man?
Zahid Hussein as
Okay.
super bantamweight, but we didn't get no reply, so we don't know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen with that. But that's that he's fighting. I think he's having a rematch with Andre Grant. Good fighters, man. Like I said, like any fighter, like I can sit here and say, yeah, I don't like this guy, I don't like that guy. I'm gonna beat him up and do
Yeah.
this business, but I just want to show what I do with my fists, like, you know what I mean, like type thing. So
I think the good thing for you is that you're gathering a pretty big following now, right? And I
yeah,
think just like we're seeing with these YouTubers coming over to
yeah,
this sport, the main reason why they're bringing a lot of money to the sport is because they've got a big following.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
obviously boxing's a ticket game, right? And if you're bringing that big following wherever you're going, I think sooner or later it's going to be hard for other fighters to turn you down, right?
Yeah, well, eventually when the money's right, fighters don't want to do it, but I'm willing to take risks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm willing to, like make like I'm gonna bring Mayweather back into the equation, man, because I've read so much
Mm,
about him, and but he came out of a $70,000 contract,
mm.
and he became a billionaire
I
after
think
that. And it's
was that with
700.
Bob Aaron, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. I heard
it's
about it.
about sacrifice, about
And he
taking
started his
risks.
Mayweather Promotions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes, yeah, you got to take the risk,
you
right?
gotta take the risk, and like with
Back
boxing,
yourself.
you know, it's a business at the end of the day.
Mm,
There's always gonna be money put on the table. There's always gonna
mm,
be this. I don't want to fight this person for this much. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But sometimes you gotta take a small amount
mm,
to take a big amount. Do you know what I mean? It's like you
yeah.
have to sacrifice a small amount for an even bigger amount. That's what Mayweather kind of showed in his career as well. So I think I've taken so much. Like I talk about so many greats because these are past greats I'm talking about. I'm
Mm,
not talking about current fighters now. Mayweather's obviously still around, but the reason why I talk about so many great champions in their life is because I've taken so much little things, attributes from
mm,
their lifestyle, their mindset,
mm,
their fighting style. It doesn't matter what they do, the things they've went through. It's implanted now. Like I kind of
mm,
have to speak on it in my sense
yeah.
because I feel like I've learned so much off these fighters, and I don't even know them,
Mm,
but like it's like I've been with them and I've learned so many things
yeah,
from them.
yeah.
So I think as a boxer, as a fighter, and this goes out to any fighter that watching young fighters, you know, even fighters that are probably further down the track, you know what I
Mm,
mean? Not mentality wise, but you know what I mean,
yeah,
innit?
yeah,
But
yeah.
like always study boxing. Like there's something I always like tell my like even the amateur boxing in the gym, study boxing, study it, because boxing, like you, it's not just a thing that you just fight and you just a natural ability.
Mm,
It's muscle memory.
yeah.
It's a mentality. You want to learn from different great champions. You want to learn from Inoue. You want to learn from
Mm,
Salvador Sanchez. You want to learn from Mayweather. You want to learn
mm,
from Duran. Learn little things. Learn the negative things about the
mm,
life. What made Duran go to a
yeah.
situation where he didn't want to be in? Like what did
Mm,
Mayweather do in his life that was negative? What, and also look at the good things that they did, like
mm,
the shoulder roll. I don't know, little
mm.
things like that. I see a lot of people doing the shoulder roll.
It's a very
Um,
hard thing to
it
perfect,
is.
right?
I can't. To be fair, I'm not. I can't.
Oh, you did it well in your last fight, and that
I
was something I was pleasant. I was quite
yeah.
surprised with.
I do it, but I don't abuse it though. You do it at the right times. It's about timing. Like I think at
Yeah,
the time it was just like a natural
because the
thing.
one thing I was impressed with in that fight was you were unleashing a lot of a high volume of punches on your opponent, but the odd time he would swing, and it would be you could tell he would put a lot into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
punch. You were there straight away,
yeah,
ready
yeah,
to roll it. So
yeah,
you were always, no matter how much you were unleashing, you were still ready for that counter to
yeah, yeah.
come
Of
back, and you were
course.
rolling it every time. And it was good that I think there was some showmanship there where you were rolling it, and it was looking quite good. Is that
Yeah,
something you'd practice? Because I hadn't seen that
yeah.
too much in any of your other fights.
Well, I don't think anyone really threw many punches in the fight. I didn't think really gave him
Yeah,
a chance to know. But
yeah.
yeah, like
Did you enjoy that? It seemed like you were really enjoying yourself in there.
I was just in my own zone,
Were
man.
you?
Like it's like, you know, when you're just in your own zone, I'm just staying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I watched it back. I was like, wow, I did
Where
all
does
that.
that performance rank amongst your previous performances?
That was probably my best performance.
Yeah, I think so.
I've had some good performances. I fought a Mexican fighter in my fourth fight. That was good.
Mm,
That was more of a toe to toe fight though.
yeah.
There's skill involved, but like more like body punching and combination punching. Whereas this one was more like you've seen a bit of everything.
Okay.
And I think that is the real me.
Yeah.
But I can do better than that
Do you
though.
feel yourself now progressing fight on fight?
Yeah, man. Like it doesn't like listen, every fight I take, it's just another stepping stone to
Yeah.
being
It's
even
more rounds in
greater.
the bag,
Yeah,
right?
more rounds. So like there's so like I said, there's so much politics. This fight was supposed to be a 6 rounder, but unfortunately it went down to 4 rounds. But I was just so happy that I was on Sky Sports.
Mm,
But like at the same time, everything happens for a reason.
mm,
So now that I go into my next fight will be a 6 rounder. You're gonna I'm that fighter that breaks you down mentally and physically
mm,
over time. So like, you know, like I seen Mayweather do, I seen loads of fights. Salvador Sanchez used to take people to the later rounds and stop them. That's the same mentality I have. Like
mm,
I am some people have a great knockout punch in round one, round
mm,
two. I'll take that fighter into the later rounds and drown them. You know what I
mm,
mean? Because I've got that fitness to take them all the way to round 10 and
mm,
take these guys out. You know what I mean? That's
mm.
the way I can fight. So I've got a bit of everything in my you know, my attributes. I've got loads of attributes. I've got loads of things I'm still working on. I go gym. I work on my jab sometimes. Or sometimes I just take my glove off and just work on my jab. Sometimes I use my right hand. I prefer my combination punching. I watch Inoue. I watch all these other fighters and just use their attributes and use it, put it into my style.
Yeah, I think
That's what I do.
what a lot of people, especially kind of your more casual boxing fans, probably don't notice is even when obviously you're trying to perfect your trade, right? Even throwing a jab, there's probably about a million intricacies of when you're throwing a jab of the million different things you have to remember, the
yeah.
angle, the footwork, the turning of the foot. There's just a million things and a million ways where perfecting the jab it never becomes something which you should just forget about, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just your staple of your
that's it.
boxing
Yeah.
is perfecting the jab.
Well, I think the jab is the best punch in boxing.
Yeah,
I think my favorite
sets everything up, right?
my favorite punch is the left hook to the body.
Yeah,
Definitely, I love the left
I
hooks.
you threw a lot of them as well
Yeah,
in
and the
that
thing
last fight.
is, like, yeah, you know that once again, that was actually in my weight category. So like, if someone at super bantamweight feels them, they're gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But
Was that kid not in your weight category in the last
that
fight?
was above that. He came in at 9 stone 5, so he was actually above super featherweight.
So
So
you,
I actually fought 2.5 weight categories above my
oh
weight,
wow.
and I still put in a great performance.
So to do that, did you have to try and accommodate and put on a bit as well
Yeah,
for
so
that?
like we found out
Which
through.
wasn't ideal for you, but I guess you just had to do it,
I
right?
was supposed to set to fight a guy called Darwin Martinez,
Okay.
but obviously he was at 8 stone 12. He fought somebody else around that time, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
he fought someone on the show. The fighter was a fly. His name's Noel Berry. He fought him, and I was supposed to fight Darwin Martinez, but obviously some next thing happened. So I was actually weighing at 8 stone 13, 8 stone 12 a week before the fight, which is a good because my nutritionist said at some point, maintain this weight. I was strong. I was big for the weight. If you've
Hmm.
probably seen, I
Mm.
was weighing, and then I had. It's very hard to put on weight in 2 days, especially when it's last minute. You find that you're fighting someone different. So I went to 9 stone 1. I made 9 stone one point
Mm.
5 ounces, which is 57.8.
Hmm.
But if before that, which is 8 stone 12, is around 56.5.
Hmm.
So I only put a kilo and a half on.
Hmm.
He came in at 9 stone 5,
Hmm.
which is 60 kilo. So
Okay.
he had a bit more like weight on
And you were
him.
57.
Yeah, 50.
3 kilos
Yeah,
is a big
yeah,
difference.
exactly. So, but I wasn't
I
bothered
don't think they're
because
going
I've
to allow that in
sparred.
the amateurs, would they?
No,
Really?
no, no. I've sparred people like bigger than me, so I wasn't really.
Mm.
To me, I said to my coach, "Listen,
It's another obstacle
I'm here
in
to
your
do
way,
the.
right?
I'm
You
here
just got
to.
to get the business done.
I'm here to do a job, man. I'm here
Mm.
to do, show everybody why I'm the truth, and I'm gonna show everyone. Everyone enjoyed it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Everyone in the crowd, they loved the way I fight because it was different. They've probably said never seen it. My style is very unique. It's a
Mm.
different type of style. I've got a bit of Mexican style. I've got a bit of skill like Penn or Whitaker with my
Mm.
style with dodging the punches and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
It is a
yeah,
strange
it's
style that
yeah,
you've got. Not strange, but it's different.
it's like I can do everything.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
literally, if I want to switch you up to like a close toe to toe fight, I can do that. If I want to switch you up to on the ropes, messing around, little things
Mm.
that just hypothetically if I'm
Yeah, yeah,
talking,
yeah.
but I can do a lot of different things. I can switch
Mm.
to, but I think comes down to studying. It's muscle
Yeah.
memory, isn't it? So I think all this muscle memory is just in like. So as soon as if I went sparring tonight, it just depends how I feel, how I want to spar.
You seem to be in the gym a hell of a lot, morning, day, and
Yeah,
night.
man.
In terms of recovery and the toll on your body, what do you do for recovery?
So people don't realize this. Saturday is my day off.
Yeah,
So I take Saturdays off. But I sleep a lot as well. I have
yeah.
a 9 hour sleep every night.
Mm.
So like even if I'm up till late, I'll make sure I'm having a
No,
good
no.
9 hours
Yeah.
sleep. You know what I mean, or at least 8.5 or 8
Hmm.
hours. So my recovery is good. I take cold showers, cold
Hmm.
plunges. I do
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I do a lot of breath work as well. So there's a
Mm.
lot of things I do behind the scenes. Obviously, people think like, "Yo, this kid's always in the gym, man. How's he running 7 miles nearly every day?" But what people don't realize, I got the right recovery. I got the right people around me to support me doing it. And
Even from listening to you now on this podcast, not just recovery, but what you're doing outside the gym, in the gym, you're doing that many of the right things.
yeah,
I don't know how you can't not get to the place where you want to get to.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
if anyone's got faith in you, I have 100%.
yeah. I appreciate
But
that. Yeah.
before we do wrap up, I know there's a couple of big fights that have been scheduled, which I just wanted to get your opinion on. So probably the big one coming up: Tyson Fury versus Usyk. I'll give you my opinion first of
Yeah,
what
yeah, go ahead.
what I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
and you'll probably tell me I'm completely
yeah,
wrong.
yeah,
I think if Usyk and Fury were the same or a similar height, I think Usyk would destroy because I don't think anyone can. I feel like it's very hard to touch, especially with what he did in the amateurs. I just feel like he's too good.
mm,
But I feel like with the height difference, that will be Fury's savior, I think. And I think that last fight against Ngannou, where now people are saying, "Oh, Fury, has he got it? Has he not? Has he still got it?" I feel like he's at his best when everyone's against him, kind of thing, and when he's the underdog.
yeah.
So I feel like Fury would probably edge it. I think. What do
Um,
you think?
you know what? I don't know, man.
It's a
It's a
tough one,
tough
isn't
fight
it?
because Usyk's got a very different, complete
Mm,
different. Like different style to Fury. It's not even like I can just imagine. I can imagine, but the only way I can see it being a 50-50 fight. I think if Usyk uses boxing skills very well, he can win. But after the last fight with Tyson Fury, I just don't know. I don't know if he's the same Tyson Fury. This is what's
That's mine.
this is
Because
what's
he is about 30. He's getting on a bit now
yeah.
as
But
well.
it's funny though because you said the right thing there. Like with Tyson Fury, you don't know which one comes up. So when he fought Wilder the second time, just like different. It was just different, wasn't it? And the third time was even worse.
Yeah.
And then he fought. Did he fight anyone after that? Yeah, he fought Dylan White, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's fought Ngannou.
And Ngannou, yeah, like and Chisora as well. He fought Chisora for the third time as had a trilogy in it. But I think Usyk. I'm edging towards Usyk.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think Usyk's got the skills, and I think his mindset's very strong. And I think he is the guy that everyone kind of like. If to be fair, I'm a Joshua fan in it, so
yeah,
I think in my
I think
opinion,
Joshua could have fought him 100 times and lost 100 times. I couldn't see
I
him
don't
beating
know,
him.
man. I think he can beat him, man. I
Do
think
you?
Joshua had it in him. I think it's just that sometimes when the whole world is against you, it does catch up to you as well.
Yeah.
So like you gotta remember,
He's got a lot of
Joshua
pressure on
went
his
so
shoulders.
much. He went to stardom, very very good as well. Like the way he did it was great, but at the same time, when he took that L against Andy Ruiz, that kind of ruined his that feeling inside of him. It's like wow, like I thought I was unstoppable. I was the man that was knocking
Andy Ruiz, because of his physique, I think was underrated.
Yeah, but Andy Ruiz is one of them fighters that like
He's a good puncher. I like
yeah,
when
he can bang, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You see what he did to flipping Louis Ortiz and that, like so.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, him and Josie Parker's fight was very controversial. Like they fought, and I think they fought in Australia before. And I watched that fight, and that fight was close. Josie Parker may have edged it, but like Andy Ruiz was not a pushover, and especially he's not like a person where I would not have him as a quick fight to just come in. Like that's just a dangerous fight to have. You know what I mean? But Usyk, I'm going with Usyk on that one. I think he's got it in him. I think he'll work his angles well. I think Tyson Fury will get confused. But if Tyson Fury comes out and catches him, because Tyson Fury can bang, you've seen it now, he could do it. But yeah, Usyk, that's the man I'm going for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got Joshua Ngannou. I think Joshua will deal with him. I think now he knows he needs to be on guard because Ngannou, fair play to him, he did a lot better than I expected against Fury. So I think Joshua will know he'll have to be on guard. I wouldn't be surprised if Joshua stops him or knocks him out, to be honest.
I think Joshua's too advanced for Ngannou. Ngannou's a good fighter, but I think maybe Tyson Fury might not have taken it seriously.
I think that was a combination of Fury massively underestimating him and Ngannou overperforming.
But it gives Joshua confidence though for Tyson Fury because Ngannou has the same type of shape in it as Joshua.
Yeah.
So I think and Joshua's a lot stronger. I personally think he's stronger.
I always think Joshua would have gave Fury a lot of problems, even like if it happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
It'd be. I think that's one of the ones everyone wants to see, right?
Yeah, I think the main thing that people should be looking at is for Jay Opetaia. Have you ever heard of him, Jay Opetaia? The cruiserweight from Australia. He knocked out Elizor in the first round.
Oh, is it spelled
Opetaia?
Yeah, I think I've heard of him. Yeah.
So
did he just fight on a card recently?
He beat Jordan Thompson. Elizor was a good fighter. He beat Elizor.
I've heard of Elizor. Oh, was it Elizor? Did he knock out Elizor? Yeah, that was the one I saw.
The thing is, Elizor is not a bad fighter. Like I watched him in the box
not.
series. I've seen him fight.
That was a bit of a concussive knockout, wasn't it?
That's brutal. And the thing is, like I said, like Elizor is not a bad fighter. He's a good fighter for what he's done. He's beaten some decent fighters in the UK already. You know what I mean? And where he's from the Boxer series, he beat fighters and Opetaia, like I think he's the next heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah,
I think
I'll keep an eye out on that.
Undisputed. Listen, watch him against Jordan Thompson. You'll see what he's brutal. He's having a rematch with Marius Breedis, and you can see he's got a lot of fire in him. Most active. He's fighting again already. In 5 months, he's had 3 or 4 fights. He got stripped off the IBF, but he's coming back now, and like he's gonna fight Marius Breedis for the vacant IBF again. So they're having a rematch. Watch them fights. Trust me, you'll see he's a very like people like if you watch him, like I used to think like I don't think, but when I watched him, I was like, wow, this guy, you can see he's got that fire, that spark up in his chest. He's just focused, man. He's locked in, and he's just like them Simone fighters, dangerous fighters, man.
Definitely
like,
one
the warriors, you know what I mean? Like so, yeah.
All right, that's one I'll definitely keep an eye out for. But just before we wrap up, I know you touched on it earlier. how much kind of God has a big part to play in your career, right? You're very close to God, to Waiguru. You go to Godwara
Mm,
quite regularly, and I think with fighters like yourself, I know there's Dylan Chima in Dabasi. I think there's Callum Singh as well
mm.
on the scene. I think it's given this younger generation a lot of inspiration that they're seeing you guys and what you're doing, because there weren't many role models like yourself from a Sikh background
Yeah, yeah.
on the boxing scene. Even thinking back to when I was an amateur, didn't really see any. Even just boxing as an amateur, I only see maybe one or two others. But I think you guys are definitely become an inspiration now to the younger generation. But what would be your advice to somebody who's either just started boxing or maybe hasn't started boxing yet, but is thinking of taking up the sport and how they can succeed in the sport of boxing? What's the type of mindset that they need to have?
I would say just listen. First thing is listen to your coach.
Mm,
Like I know that's a pretty simple thing, but make sure your heart's in it as well.
mm,
Because you see, boxing it's a very very tough game. It's only it's only built for the people that can that need to let that fire out type thing.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like
mm,
I had it in me, so I was
mm,
kind of lucky I had it. But it's a very tough game, man. Like it can mentally mess you up. Like you said, McGregor lost his mind,
mm,
and the probably like now I can talk about this. Like to be fair, it's a good way for me to end this off. Like,
mm,
but boxing is one of them sports that takes over your whole life. For me,
mm,
it's taken over my whole life. It's made me think differently. I've literally sacrificed so much for the sport of boxing. People don't realize. Like, just know you have
mm,
to make massive sacrifices, friendships, relationships, anything, family relationships. It doesn't matter. Like, you have to be so locked in and so focused to get to where you want to be, and that's where I'm getting to where I want
mm.
to be. I mentioned this earlier in the interview, in the podcast. Boxing is not you can't play it. You can't play box. It's not like football team sports where you can have someone that you
Mm.
can pass the ball to and help out.
Yeah.
You've got to stay focused. It's you versus you.
Mm,
Can't look at anybody else. Can be so much
mm.
critics, but if you really want to put your life into boxing, listen to your coach is the
Yeah.
first thing. Because I know it's just discipline. First thing you
Yeah.
do is listen to your coach. First thing, even sometimes now, like my coach will say to me, "Have a rest day," and I'm like, oh, "I don't want to," but I listen
Yeah.
because he's my coach, in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
there to guide me. Like
Mm,
Richard Carter is a great. He used to be a professional himself.
yeah.
He wants the best for me, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I listen to what he's got to say. Like if he doesn't want me to spar one day, sometimes I ask to spar. He say, "Nah, I don't think you should spar today." You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Like calm,
Have
like you
you
know what I
guys
mean?
built that trust
Yeah, yeah,
together?
he's a
Yeah.
good guy, man. Like good guy, like you know what I mean. And also listen to your family as well, like your dad, your mom, the people that are around
Mm.
you. Make sure you got a good team around you. Like anyone that wants to get into boxing, like it's a hard one because there's so many things I can say, but it depends on the person as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because I've had a different upbringing. That person could come from a rich
Mm.
background, whereas I come from a stable, okayish background. You know what I mean? So for the advice I can give is listen to your coach, stay focused on your graft. If you really want to go into boxing and you want to be the best in the world, stay focused. Don't listen to all the bad critics and just focus on you.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm
That's
here to inspire everybody anyway. Like there's a lot of young people that you know that look up to me and drop me a little message in my request. I do see them, you know what I
mm,
mean, and I
mm,
always say like thank you to everybody that shows me love and respect, you know what I mean. And boxing's a tough game, man, you know what I
mm,
mean. For fighters, if you take it L, like a lot of fighters take it L and get depressed and stuff
mm.
like that. It's a very like draining sport, but at the same time, like if you want to be something special and you want to create a legacy, you want to get to anywhere you want to be, you gotta take all these with a
Gotta take the
you
hours,
gotta
right?
take everything the way it comes, and you gotta just stay focused on what you want to do, and like just you gotta keep moving forward because no one's gonna care when you lose. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
It's
So
true. And
just yeah, just to everyone, just like that wants to get into boxing, just stay on it, man. That's it. Like it's different
mm,
for it's a difficult one for me to
depends on
explain
their
on the person.
purpose
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
whether it be they actually want to take it as a kind of
yeah,
career
yeah,
path, whether they just want to build confidence, self defense. There's many different reasons, right, for turn to boxing. But I think, like you said, if there's one thing you're going to get from it, is that resilience, how to kind of overcome various setbacks, discipline. I think there's so many great things that it teaches
yeah,
you,
yeah,
right? Like I did it from a young age as well, and that stuff has stayed with me, and it definitely taught me how to overcome setbacks. I think if there's one thing that's certain in life, it's that you're gonna face L's at
yeah,
some
man,
point. You're gonna
definitely.
face your setbacks, whether you like it or not. And I think something that boxing teaches you is how to overcome those setbacks again
Yeah,
and
yeah.
again and again. It builds that resilience, right?
it's just mental toughness, isn't it? It
Mm,
just comes back
yeah,
down. Like boxing just always comes back to mental. It's all mental. It's all
yeah,
like 90% of 90% of boxing is mental strength. That's
yeah.
all it is.
Completely
You know what I
agree.
mean? So you can have the best ability or
Mm,
whatever. I said this earlier in the podcast as well, but it's down to this because you
mm,
could have the best ability, but in round
yeah,
six you're blowing and you're like, oh yo, I'm taking
yeah.
punches, but what's gonna that
If you,
spark needs to come out like Gatti did.
if you freeze in the
Yeah,
lights, then
there you
yeah,
go, man. Like it's
no,
boxing is just one
spot
of them
on.
sports. So yeah, man, just stay like once again. I'm gonna say it one more time because I think it's a great message. But listen to your coach, stay focused, don't listen to anybody else, and never give up. That's the main thing
Yeah,
I'll say. To
no, that's good
stay
stuff.
focused and use stay disciplined, but never abuse it either.
Mm,
Anything you get taught, don't
yeah,
just go using it and beating
yeah,
people up.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Mm,
something I would always say because a lot of young people think it's a joke. You know what I mean? I learned
mm,
boxing. I know to right hook someone. I'm
mm,
gonna hook someone in the face.
mm,
That's not what we want to try and
mm.
inspire.
It's
But
dangerous, dangerous
one thing I
game.
want to add as well is like I'm not just here to inspire, like, because I know I'm here to pave a pathway for Punjabi fight, but I'm here to inspire everybody
Yeah,
because that's who I am. You know, I've
no,
always
that's
been
great.
inspiring
Yeah,
all the younger generation, anyone that wants to get into boxing because we're all one in this world, and I believe that like everybody's the same in this world,
mm,
like we're all equal. You know what I mean?
mm,
And I think that I can show if I can inspire one kid to go far like I did with myself, you know
mm,
what I mean? Like no one really inspired me. There was not really a person that really inspired me. Obviously my family pushed me, but if I had a role model, there was never a role model. If I could be a role model to somebody and you watch my videos or you meet me in real life, use my experiences, use my
mm,
ability, use my mindset and to get to where you want to be, then go for it, man. Like
yeah. No,
that's what I'm here to do, man.
that's spot on. I think that last piece of advice you gave about not giving up is a key one as well. Because if there's one thing that I always think about, especially when we face these day to day adversities in life, and you have those maybe those little moments that creep in where you feel like giving up, I always remind myself if you want to get to that place where you want to be in life, the moment where you feel like giving up is where most people would give up. So you need to carry on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because if you want to be different, that's where you then need to carry on. So any moment you feel like giving up, just remember that's what most people would do. So keep plucking away, right?
That's it, man. Definitely.
No, spot on. Right. No, thank you for coming on, Gully.
Thank
That's
you
been
as
a
well.
great chat. It's one that I've been looking forward to for a while. And if there's something that I'll say is that I'm pretty sure you're going to get to where you got to, and we can clip that up. I know you're going to do some great things in the sport of boxing, and I want you back on when you've got that first title, which I'm sure isn't too far away.
No, it's not far
And
away,
I'll
definitely.
definitely be keeping a close eye, and I'll definitely be there at your next fight as well. So,
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
thanks for watching, everyone.